Hi, it's Morgan with 1455. It is our mission to advance the art and craft of the written word and to build a dynamic and innovative creative community. We offer a variety of free online and in person programs, which are fully supported by our sponsors and by viewers like you. If you would like to make a donation of any amount, please visit 1455litarts.org and click support. Your contribution will be greatly appreciated. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey, everybody, it's Sean Murphy with 1455. Thank you, as always, for joining us for our ongoing series, the 1455 interview. I continue to have so much fun with this, and it's giving us an opportunity to talk to a lot of amazing writers. And today is absolutely no exception. I've been looking forward to this, been giddy with excitement to welcome a National Book Award finalist who was also part of our Summer Literary Festival. And we're going to have a special author event just for her in a couple of weeks. I'll be putting all that information on the website. But let me bring on our friend and rock star, Deesha Philyaw. Let me give you her bio, which is not short because it's impressive, and I'm going to read all of it. Her debut short story collection, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, is a finalist for the 2020 National Book Award for Fiction. This collection focuses on Black women, sex, and the Black church. Deesha is also the co-author of Co-Parenting 101, Helping Your Kids Thrive in Two Households After Divorce, written in collaboration with her ex-husband. Her work's been listed as notable in the Best American Essays series, and her writing on race, parenting, gender, and culture has appeared in the New York Times, the Washington Post, McSweeney's, The Rumpus, Brevity, Dead Housekeeping, Catapult, Harvard Review, ESPN's The Undefeated, The Baltimore Review, Ebony, and Bitch magazines, and various anthologies. She is a Kimbilio Fiction Fellow and past Pushcart Prize nominee for essay writing in Full Grown People. Deesha, what an honor to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And I remember that awesome brick wall from LitFest. And you've got my favorite set of specs. So
thank you. I'm winning already.
We can wrap it up now. Thank you for being here. It's a total honor and pleasure.
For having me. And the 1455 Festival was one of the first I did. So thank you for setting a really high bar. That was a lot of fun.
Well, it was our pleasure, and I'll be in denial and say, well, clearly that launched you on the trajectory.
Yes.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you. All right, well, I know you're ready for action, so as
yes.
you got us on the clock, let's jump into business. Deesha,
all right.
The first book that made you want to be a writer, or a book that changed your life?
The one that changed my life was Daddy Was a Number Runner by Louise Meriwether. It's set in 1930s Harlem. It's a Black girl coming of age story. And so it was the first book where I saw myself and saw how books can help you take a journey somewhere else.
And I've never read that. So now, like in this,
you gotta read it.
Now I've got like triple hours of books, but that's what it's all about. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, a tough one, but a fun one. Who would you say, if you could say, your most profound artistic influences?
Toni Morrison, for sure. And it's because she wrote about the fullness and the richness and the the singularity of Black life, apologetically, in Black life and Black people, apologetically, and sort of the richness. And, people question, ask her, do you feel like you're limiting yourself? And she said no. And that was really profound for me, that, Black life is worthy to be written about.
Yeah, and honestly, I would say, of course, I would step lightly, as a white man, but I would describe her as an American writer. I mean, it would be to say, well, she's a great Black writer. She's writing about America. She was an American.
Yes.
Writing about American history. And not for nothing, as I'm sure you won't be surprised to hear, her name has already resurfaced repeatedly in the series. So her influence on our generation is incalculable. So.
Yep, and she proved that. She showed that you can tell American stories through the lives of Black people. These universal stories that are very specific. That's just amazing that she could do that. So that had a profound effect on me.
Absolutely. Great. Okay. How about an album or movie, or better yet, both, that you recommend at reservation?
Album Mama's Gun by Erykah Badu. Like that was the soundtrack for me when I was a baby writer. Like I would just play that album over and over again. Yeah.
That's my favorite of hers. I've heard about that album. Yeah, what a masterpiece.
Yeah.
All right. This is another impossible but fun one.
Okay.
This first or last line of any book ever.
Toni Morrison. They shoot the white girl first from Paradise. Immediately you're like, okay, who shot her? Why did they shoot her? Which white girl was this? Like, that's what a first line should do.
Yep. The first line doesn't ask you to keep reading. It makes you.
Right. Exactly. And I'm sorry that this keeps shaking, but my pug just keeps walking around the cords.
We did establish the ground rules in advance. Dogs are not only welcome, they're encouraged. So,
okay.
Pudgy wants
all right.
All the better.
All right. She comes back over here, but she just keeps coming and leaving. So sorry, go ahead.
It's all good. Okay. How about an underrated author that you'd love to give a shout out
to? Fran Ross, who she wrote this book called Oreo in 1974. It is the first satirical novel written by a Black woman. And that book fell into obscurity. She died young. She died after writing that book. She never wrote a second book. And then a Black woman scholar whose name is escaping me now, but she did for that book what Alice Walker did for Zora Neale Hurston's work and brought it back. Every now and then you can find it. Sometimes it sells out on Amazon, but it is hilarious. It is brilliant. Even though it's set in 74 and very much of that era, it is timeless. And it's criminal that everybody doesn't know the name Fran Ross.
And it sounds like something that could easily be made into a movie.
Yes. That would be hilarious. It would be great. Yep.
Maybe that can be a little side project for us. When
okay.
When it does. I have to read it first, but I'm on it. Another one for the list.
Yes.
Okay. My personal favorite question, my self-indulgent question. Why have you not read Moby Dick? Or if you have, what's a classic that you've been meaning to get around to?
I don't find the subject matter interesting at all. I think I was supposed to read it in high school. There were a bunch of classics, that we had to read, and I would always just budget, no pun. Yeah, I got away with, I would get A's and I didn't read half those books. Sorry, high school teachers.
I think writers figure out early on that there are the books you're supposed to read and the books that you and then need to read. And you strike me as someone that figured out pretty early on.
Yeah.
You know what I want to read, and that's what I'm going to read.
Yeah. If I was bored, I just would not read it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That would, and an Old Man in the Sea. I was like, I read that. I don't have to read Moby Dick. I know.
Fair enough. There is no apology necessary. That's my own half joking obsession, but you're in very good company amongst the people who have no apologies for not reading that.
Gotcha.
All right, let's move on. Your bio touches on this, and I've certainly read some of your work, but if you had to say, do you feel that there's a certain theme or topic that your work seeks to address?
Yeah, I think people assume it's church ladies, but it's really broader than that. It's dissatisfied women, because that was my impetus to start writing. I was dissatisfied, and so I started writing.
And that covers, obviously, you've done a fair amount of nonfiction as well as fiction.
Yeah. Fiction and nonfiction, but initially it was fiction because I was too afraid to write the truth about why I was dissatisfied at that time in my life. This would have been about 20 years ago. So I would, sneak it in the fiction, and kind of disguise it and create these characters who were older than me, but that thread of dissatisfaction still there.
Right. Well, that's certainly a subtopic that we can take a deeper dive on December 8th. When we tear into your book. So file that away for more. Okay, the next two questions I've gotten the habit of combining because they're so intertwined. It is the notion of writing routine and writer's block. I just like to ask everyone, do you believe in either? Have you struggled with either? Or do you have a routine? Or what's your feeling about routines?
Sure. I would love to have a routine, but I don't. Like I just every day is something different, and I have a lot going on, and I'd love to be a regimented person, but I'm not. Um, but I've stopped worrying about it. The work gets done. Writer's block, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm not, so I'm not diminishing anybody else's experience, but it's not real for me. If I don't want to write or am not somehow resisting writing the thing that has a deadline looming, I will write something else. But there's always something that I want to write. It just may not be the thing that's due. So.
Yeah, we've talked in this series a lot about how, the notion of writer's block, frankly,
Mm-hmm.
for a lot of writers is a luxury. Like, I'd love to
Yeah.
have the time to be sitting around,
Yeah.
at the wall. Most writers are so desperate to carve out some solitary time.
Yes, exactly.
You just got to, the work's not going to do itself, I think is.
Right. That is true.
Okay. How about a setback, artistic or otherwise, that looking back, you think might have put you on the trajectory that you're on now?
There's a marriage that probably shouldn't have happened. Not the one with my co-parent, the other one I've had two. So yeah, I would say that was a setback. Not anymore though.
Right. Okay. Good. And clearly I'm imagining that was fodder for some thought and perhaps material and thinking through things.
An essay. I said I was never going to write about it, but I did write a little bit in an essay for a site called Tonight. And it was like fear and flying or something. It was about when I went to Mexico and rode wild horses up a canyon wall. So, they probably weren't wild horses. They were just horses, but I felt like they were wild. And I tied that to, leaving that marriage. So.
Right on. Listen, if it's not a carousel, it's a wild horse as far as I'm concerned.
This is how I feel.
Right. All right. Impossible and easy all at once. If you could try to briefly describe, how have you developed your career?
Finding good people and asking good questions. Surrounding myself with a community of writers that support each other, connecting with great editors, and realizing that I can write about anything that I'm interested in writing about. Like a lot of the things that people tell you are rules are really just gatekeeping. And so, realizing that I could write what I wanted to write and then trust that everything would work out. Yeah.
That's a great answer. Okay. So along those lines, could you define or explain what literary success means to you?
Yeah. I would say it's, I consider my current book a literary success in that it sparked healing conversations for people. People feel seen by the work. People feel like they see themselves in the work, in the characters and in the stories, and people are laughing like that. I mean, anything beyond that is gravy for me.
Sure. And I know because we are friends on social media, but I see the engagement, in terms of the conversations clearly the not blowback, that's the wrong word, the feedback, but
yes,
people are talking about this material.
Yeah.
Clearly it's
yes. That's success for me.
Yep. Well, and I think any honest writer, right? I mean, there's so many different tiers, but I think any honest writer, it's not just that they want to be read, but they want the writing to affect somebody, whether it's a
yes.
small audience.
Yeah, you want it to matter to somebody other than you.
Perfectly put. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell, for sure. Okay, Deesha, how about something that you wish you had known as an artist 10 or even 20 years ago?
Oh, I wish that I had known that it was okay if what I was writing made the people around me feel uncomfortable. Like that was okay. That's not a reason not to write.
And do you think I think I know the answer, but you feel you've transcended that concern
Yeah.
young writers.
Yeah.
It's all about style and finding one's voice and having that confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Well, and the success of your collection, I think, validates all of that. That you write from the heart, and don't worry about the haters, and the people are going to respond in a really positive way.
That's right. That's right.
So you touched on this already a little bit, and I'm glad you did. But we talk a lot about the notion of community and how critically important that is. Have you ever been to a writer's retreat? And if not, how would you define being part of a literary community?
So I am a Kimbilio Fellow, and Kimbilio is a fellowship for writers of the African diaspora out of Southern Methodist University. And our annual retreat is in Taos, New Mexico. And I've been twice in the summer. And it was, in addition to being a beautiful place, as Taos is, just the people, my fellows are beautiful. The faculty is fantastic. You get your work done, but you also, enjoy the fun and the fellowship of it. And both of those trips were transformative for me. And that's what a good retreat should do. It should center the writing and the writer, and the community comes as an offshoot of that. But it was a very nice balance for me.
Yeah, and it's more than coincidental. I've described when I first went to the Noepe Center at Martha's Vineyard, in writing and when I talk to people, that's the exact word I use, transformative. This idea that I had spent, and I think a lot of writers, certainly pre-internet or pre-social media, it's just such a solitary endeavor, but I think we're implicated to think that that's the ideal, that you sit at your desk and suffer. And this idea that you can and should be part of a broader community that not only can help you, but you can help them. And it just becomes, this literary life becomes a real active thing.
It's true.
The work is always the most important thing, clearly. But I think when you're part of a community and you're actively part of it, it so outweighs all the rejection we get and the frustration and the slowness of the process. The day-to-day interaction becomes its own kind of lifeblood.
That's right. And I made friends there that are some of my closest friends now. And we first met at Kimbilio.
Yep. Again, that's a story that I can attest to, and I've heard it other people that go to these retreats. But yeah, I think the key takeaway is this idea that you have to be willing to be part of a community to feel that love, and then it goes outward from there. Yep. Okay, last question. How about 1 minute or so exhortation for a beginning writer that's looking for advice?
Okay. So some advice someone gave me almost 20 years ago. Don't worry about getting published. Worry about getting better at writing. And that, of course, we all want to get published because it gives you that validation. But really and truly, you want to get better and seek out those situations that will help you get better. And some of that is working with editors. Great editing is a gift, not only just the gift of time, but those insights. Embracing revision. Writing is rewriting. Not being precious about your first draft or your second draft or your third draft, but just being really open to the process of revision and being edited, knowing that it's going to make your work better. And again, it seems silly to me now, but this is who I was many years ago, and I think other people are too, which is you want somebody to tell you it's good because you want to feel like you're doing it right, and you want to feel like this is going to be a thing that you can do. So you want somebody to, put a check mark on it. Back when we were in school, it was a check mark. But what you want is more than that. For somebody to say, this is good, here's how you make it great. Or this isn't as good as it could be, it's not as solid, here's how you can make it stronger. Like, that's what you want.
Yeah. I don't have any right to ask another question, but I think
Sure, go ahead.
Can we see Fudgy?
Yes. Okay. Fudgy, because she's almost knocked this over several times, so she should come up here and answer for herself. She's tangled in the cords right now.
Aw, yay.
And then, of course, she's shy, right? She's going to look away from the camera. She's like, see, can you say hi, Fudgy girl?
Oh, yeah.
You see, she's an old lady. She's got the whisker, the white chin here. She's 11. And her brother Carmel, rest in peace. Oh, now this is her purring. I don't know if you can hear her. She it's like a little purr sound. But Carmel was fawn. So their parents were Black and fawn. And so she's Black and Carmel was fawn. And he passed away, as I shared earlier, a few weeks ago. So she's hanging in there. She's got a little grief, but
She needs her mommy right now.
yeah.
Well, dogs are always welcome. And if Fudgy wants to help us on the 8th, we'll let her do that. I'm going to put this in all the social media stuff, but Deesha, tell people how they can find you online.
DeeshaPhilyaw.com. It's where all of my book news is. You can subscribe to my newsletter there. On social media, I'm also Deesha Philyaw everywhere. On Facebook, well, Deesha Philyaw writer on Facebook, Deesha Philyaw on Twitter, Deesha Philyaw on Instagram.
Okay. Well, Deesha, thank you. Fudgy, thank you. We'll see you in a few weeks. Folks, if you haven't heard, somehow, The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, nominated for the National Book Award. We will be taking a deep dive, and you'll be able to hear the author read from that work. Please go buy a copy, support independent bookstores, and support this awesome writer who we're going to be hearing from for a long time. Deesha, thanks for being here, and I really look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you follow us on our social media channels to stay up to date with what's new for 1455. And also, we would like to ask for your support. We depend on champions like you to keep us going. Visit 1455litarts.org and click support to make a contribution in any amount. We'll see you soon.